But the feminist dream is to have all the money in the world, stick it in your ears, and go, oh, while a man pays all your bills and your money's your money, right?
Well, yeah, not only that, the men pay your bills, but the man, builds your house, your car, maintains the infrastructure you live in, keeps the phone on, builds all of your appliances, make sure water and sewage come in and out of your house. I mean, come on, shut up.
Another thing that I wanted to point out, too, about the whole, because she keeps bringing up college and education, right? Mm-hmm. Because feminists love to claim that they are smarter than you, they're more intellectual than you because they went to college, the Marxist Indoctrination Center. And that's where you get articles like this one. Doomed to marry beneath them?
Here we go.
Marriage and the gender gap in college education. And later on in this article, she specifically mentions marriageable men. So we're just going to completely ignore the role that women play in the dating market that they control lock, stock, and barrel.
Well, and they're so goddamn picky.
Yep.
Like, these women who become successful literally are cutting their own throats.
Yeah, because they insist on dating above themselves.
Yeah.
They want the CEO. Correct. If they're the secretary, they want the manager. If they're the manager, they want the CEO.
Well, let's just put this into perspective. All right, so years ago, right after my divorce, I was dating a doctor, female doctor, and she was an obstetrician, 38. And every time I would mention, you're getting kind of long in the tooth to have kids, she would get lividly upset, despite the fact that she's a fucking medical doctor and she knows the drill.
Yep.
Like, literally, she's caught in her own vapor lock brain.
Yep.
That she can't see reality. And then every day she goes to work and tells people what the reality of the situation is. Mm-hmm. It's insane.
And again, I mean, it's what's funny is that she's all about the feminism, but she is completely ignoring women's role in this entire process. Well, the fact that they are picky, that if they do go to school for longer, of course they're going to have higher rates of marriage because as soon as they graduate, they realize, oh, shit.
I'm out of time.
I've done the graduate school thing. I'm 27. If I want to have a kid before I'm 30, I need to get married like now.
That's right.
And that's exactly what most of them do. They get the baby rabies.
Yeah,
hilarious.
That's an actual thing, too.
Yep. And what's funny is that she talks about the children being better off. Guess what the source for that claim is? For most highly educated women, motherhood doesn't start until the 30s. What the fuck does that have to do with the children being better off?
It's nothing.
Exactly. In other words, this doesn't seem to be about liberal or feminist ideals, but about conservative policies. Okay,
what? How?
She has not proven a single thing other than listing a whole bunch of statistics, oftentimes erroneously.
Well, then they don't apply to the premise of what she's writing about.
Exactly.
Man, I've been hanging out with you too long.
At the heart of the marriage gap between socioeconomic classes, men. Oh, yeah, now it's all our fault again. Here we go. In the highly educated communities where men are more likely to be gainfully employed and living independently, and where they are more progressive than their working class counterparts, and less likely to be incarcerated, formally incarcerated, or hobbled by substance abuse and mental health disorders. So you're talking about men who are raised with a father in the home? Oh. Sorry. Not sorry.
Well, unfortunately, that's just going to get worse and worse moving forward.
She's literally talking about the product of two-parent homes.
Yes, she is. Well, here's the thing.
She's not going to admit that, of course.
If they succeed and they completely destroy the family, there will be no marriageable men.
Exactly.
Or very, very limited number.
Well, in their minds already, because they're stupid, they already think there are no marriageable men because they want to wait until 35 to start looking for them. But then the marriageable men who are in the age bracket they're looking for, they're done getting rejected by the chicks who are their age. They're going for the women who are younger because they can.
Well, one, they can, and two, what these women are basically proving that they've been indocked.
Oh, yeah.
They've totally been brainwashed by the school systems to believe this hogwash that they can wait to have kids.
Kind of like the woman who wrote this article.
Yeah, when I was stationed in New York State, a buddy of mine I used to hang out at his house. The neighbors had to do that IVF stuff, IVF or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
$90,000.
Yeah, we did a whole episode on that IVF shit called Last Bitch Effort. Check that one out.
And literally, they at the last try, finally, she got pregnant with 2 kids, and then they called it quits. But she was 42.
Wow.
All right, and the way it was explained to me when I heard the whole process was it was physically just absolutely punishing on her.
Yep.
It was incredibly expensive. Every time it failed, it was absolutely heart-wrenching. And their marriage almost didn't survive it. If she did not have those kids, they would have got divorced. So here's the shortcut. Have your fucking kids before you turn 30, you dumb witches.
Exactly.
God, it's not that hard.
Stop fighting biology
Yes.
and then writing articles like this trying to blame everybody else for your decisions, because whether this woman realizes it or not, she is about to admit that the real problem here is women trying to punch above their weight.
Yeah, it is.
Because she's stupid. Oh, here we go. In lower income and working class communities, men have been decimated by deaths of despair, underemployment, and mass incarceration. Mass incarceration disproportionately affects black men, who commit more than half of the violent crime.
Yes, they do.
Far more than white men, because white men are more likely to have a father at home.
And here's another thing.
Stop destroying the black community with your leftoid policies, and maybe it'll actually come back strong like it used to be.
If you actually back out the Hispanic crime rates out of the Caucasian
It's not
list,
even close.
It's not even fucking close.
And they're desperate to try to stack those statistics in any way they can, to the point where they're actually tagging black offenders as white just to try and do that. If you guys haven't heard about that going on at the sex offender registries, you should look into it. It's really funny. Well, at least it would be if it wasn't so catastrophically scary and damaging.
Yeah.
Here we go. Research shows that across racial lines, incarceration sets people up for far lower earnings and dimmer employment prospects, making them poor. But this is more of that logic damning shit.
It is. Well,
none of this is because of conservative policies, mind you.
If you're a convicted felon, I'm sorry, it's really hard to find a rewarding, decent job with good benefits.
Yep. And I mean, we know that some more single mothers will vote Democrat. Women in general, 70% of them vote for Democrats. We have the thing on this, and she's talking about criminal thing, and she's actually, if she's bringing this up as part of her problem with the GOP and saying that their policies are responsible for putting these dudes behind bars, explain this. Lock the SOBs up. Joe Biden in the era of mass incarceration. He wrote, or had a hand in, most of the laws that put people in prison for nonviolent crimes for life.
He's the architect behind those laws in regards to crack cocaine.
Yes, he is.
Like, if it was powdered cocaine, those punishments were not nearly as egregious if you were caught with the same weight of crack cocaine.
Yep.
He's responsible for that.
Exactly.
And there are speeches on YouTube of him talking about this bullshit.
Yeah. So much for conservative policies being
I have
a problem.
no idea, what the hell's wrong with that guy. But
now, you want to blame like the no-fault divorce thing on Reagan? I'll hear you out on that.
Yeah, I do.
So, yeah, you want to throw that in there? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's true.
But we have to keep in mind, too, that in the latter half, in his second term in general, he wasn't all there.
What, Reagan?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was.
He wasn't as bad as Biden is.
No, his last 2 years, he was cooked in his books.
Exactly.
And you know how I know
so
that?
It may not even be on him.
Well, the thing is I know they're retired now, but I knew the guys who were Secret Service agents for Reagan.
Oh, yeah?
And then, for the Clintons, the murdering bastards that they are.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally know over 50 people who've committed suicide.
It's. I think they're in the 90s.
It's probably more than that, yeah. Those are just the ones we know about.
Mm-hmm.
Women, on the other hand, have been doing better. Oh, women are now more likely to be employed than ever. They're making more money and are more financially independent. And now here comes but we're still oppressed, I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
Occupational segregation and stark gender pay gaps persist.
All right.
No, they don't.
First of all of that shit has been debunked more times than goddamn Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny.
Well, shit, man. The S&P 500 or whatever the hell it is, they were bragging just recently about hiring only 6% white staff in the last year. All right? That's not, again, we're not talking about a conservative policy. That is wokeism, leftoid bullshit.
And we need to generate some serious lawsuits over that.
Yep. But far fewer women than ever need to attach themselves to a man in order to make rent and feed their families. Oh, congratulations, you're an average adult. Oh, I'm sorry, strong and independent. I forgot. Stunning and brave. In struggling communities, there are simply not enough marriageable men to go around. And there's the problem right there.
Marriageable men.
It's all our fault, even though women are included in affirmative action. They're drastically overrepresented at the collegiate level. And now we're not hiring white dudes who are actually qualified for positions because mud diversity and ESG scores.
Yeah.
They're deliberately tanking the so-called market of marriageable men. And you want to blame us for it?
But also they're not taking into account there's a lot of marriageable men out there who don't want to get married and never will.
Exactly.
They know the deal, they know the game, and more men are waking up every single day because of channels like ours and more MGTOW red pill channels.
Better Bachelor, guys like him, yeah.
Yeah, God bless that dude.
What's hilarious is that you don't even have to go through and dissect this article the way that we have to know it's bullshit. All you have to do is go onto TikTok and search hashtag dating over 30.
It's beautiful.
And it's a thing of beauty. They're all the good men. There's no marriageable men. All the men they're just crap. No. Those men are where you left them in your 20s.
Correct.
And they have grown beyond you. They're better than you, and they're dating younger than you. You can't stand it, can you?
Well, and it gets really bad for women, I think, between 40 and 46.
Yeah. The worst year for depression for the average person is when they're 47. So that lines up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is like when a woman crosses over 38, 40, she still remembers how attractive she was in her 20s, but now she's literally becoming invisible.
Yeah. Well, because, we've talked about this before, the retro tread vision that men have for the women that they truly love. If you meet a woman when she's like 20, you have her during her best years, it doesn't matter how much she balloons up after having a couple of your kids, what have you. You are always going to remember her as that hot little 20-year-old that you fell in love with.
Yeah, and you cannot replicate that when you get older.
Yeah. Women see themselves the same way, unfortunately, when they're single and lonely and wondering why no one wants to date them.
Like if I'm going to hang out with a woman in her 40s, she better be on point.
Yeah, these women in their 40s still think they're 23.
They're not.
And they want dating to go back to being what it was when they were 23, when they were in control of the dating market. When they're 43, they're not in control anymore. Men are. And that's not fair.
Well, they played themselves.
Yeah.
Like they can get mad all they want, but they better look in the mirror because they're the ones that did it.
They did. Women did this to themselves. This isn't a conservative thing. Okay? You can make an argument. Globalism, uniparty, fuck yeah. They're the ones who wrote these laws and completely destroyed the nuclear family because that was the goal.
Yep.
They made marriage unattractive because they don't want you to get married. In that respect, I understand why people want to champion it and push it because it would be a return to traditional values. The problem is the laws don't line up with that value anymore.
No, they don't. When you can actually prove that a child is not yours in court, scientifically,
and they still make you pay child support.
Make you pay. They literally turned you into a fucking slave.
Yep. Why do you think Joe Biden's on vacation all the time? Violating your constitutional rights is fucking exhausting. Just look at actually try to contact people during their so-called office hours at the Wayne County Courthouse and see how far you get.
Oh, yeah. When I was a process server, I hated going to Wayne County because they're so incompetent.
They're assholes. Not enough men who are gainfully employed, living independently, and willing to pull their own weight around the home. You want to know why? And we've talked about this before. Men who so-called pull their own weight around the home, in addition to working harder than women to pay for it, are more likely to get divorced.
Correct.
The more domesticated chores a man does in his own home, if he is married, the more likely it is he is going to get divorced.
Yeah, here's another thing, too. I think one of the main reasons is when a man falls into that, falls out of frame, women start to lose respect for you.
Yeah.
Like, when you meet a woman and then she keeps trying to change you and then sooner or later she succeeds, then she's no longer attracted because you're not the same man she married.
Yeah.
So stay on your frame. There is no benefit to coming off your frame.
Exactly. A lot of women understand they may never get married, but may not want to give up the prospect of being a mother. And many may want to delay childbearing until marriage, but find themselves off course when they become accidentally pregnant. And then when they do what anti-abortion Republicans want and have their babies, find themselves unsupported and stigmatized by those same conservatives. You want to know why? Because we believe in accountability.
That's exactly what it is.
If you are stupid enough to have unprotected sex with no birth control and you get knocked up, guess what? I am pro-choice because you made it already.
Yep.
That thing in your belly that's growing and becoming its own person, it's already another human being. It's got its own blood type. It's got its own DNA. It's not your body. It's the baby's body. And you made the choice to create it. You don't get to murder it just because it's inconvenient. Fuck off.
They actually, they do that in droves.
Yo, I know. And I love how they try to say, well, Planned Parenthood isn't meant to target the black community. Yes, it is. It's deliberate. That's exactly why it was created. Most Planned Parenthood businesses are in urban areas for a reason. Yeah. And that's why she can say that most single mothers come from red states that prevent this kind of stuff. Well, yeah, because take a look at this.
Well, here's another thing.
These are in leftoid states.
I believe they actually, the woman that came up with, was it a woman that did the Planned Parenthood?
Yes.
And they actually looked at a bunch of her notes.
She was a complete eugenicist racist.
That's exactly right.
And it's hilarious because now if you bring that up about Planned Parenthood, you're the bigot. Wow. It really takes some mental gymnastics to bend yourself into that logic pretzel.
Well, but what you're failing to realize is the left blames, shames, and guilts you into silence.
Why would I fail to realize that? I work with you.
Yeah.
I know that more than anybody.
Yeah, I know stuff now. I hate you. Like, why? Because I know things now.
Well, the thing is, if you cannot defend your argument, the only option you have is deliberately misrepresenting your opposition, blame, shame, guilt, and strawmanning. Those are your options. And that's why they have to misrepresent the argument that keeps pornography out of schools by calling it book banning. It's not book banning, you fucking groomers. We're trying to protect our children, something that you used to be on board with until you decided fucking them was more fun.
Oh, yeah, that is just, oh my Lord.
There's no easy solution to the surge in births outside of marriage, nor to the fact that children of single parents... Well, actually, there is an easy solution. No more welfare.
Yeah.
Or put a 7-year cap on it. Total for every person.
I am for the 7-year cap.
Yeah.
I'm 100% for the 7-year cap.
Yeah,
but people need help from time to time. I'm totally cool with that.
And that's totally fine. But these women who will literally they're baby and felony factories, they're just churning them out because they want to live off the state, fuck them.
Well, and we did that show, System Surfers.
Yes, we did.
Like, literally, a woman, when she can start dropping kids at 16, work part-time so it doesn't interfere with her benefits, by the time she gets to 60, she will out-earn a man who graduated high school almost 2-to-1.
Yep. But because that those funds are not taxed as income, we can still pretend that single mothers live unfairly in poverty, even though most of them are single mothers by choice.
Yeah, listen, there's women out there who get 30, 40 grand in child support and 10 or 12 grand in alimony, and then on the books they make about 18 grand, and everyone's like, "Oh, you live in
Oh my
God," when they really aren't.
Yeah, never mind the child support, never mind the WIC, the food stamps, all that shit. Yeah, never mind any of that. Everybody else gets taxed for that so that you can have it.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that nice how that works? Oh, no, this one really cracks me up. It's about to get really fucking funny because this is easily debunked. The funny thing is, like, you have to debunk things that think they're debunking other shit because this woman clearly, she knows how to do research, but her research is in cherry picking. So there are certainly many policy solutions that could shrink this gap. An expanded child tax credit, for example, cut child poverty in America by nearly half.
So more taxes.
Here we go. No. But then Republican lawmakers refused to extend it and child poverty rates surged back up. I'm going to explain exactly why that happened. The expanded child tax credit was a gift from Donald Trump. And it was part of his tax reform that actually benefited the middle and working classes. It was axed by Republicans and primarily Democrats who are part of the Uniparty because they don't want tax relief for the lower and middle classes. Sorry, but you are wronger than two boys fucking again.
In church.
Easily accessible, affordable, and legal abortion and contraception would allow women to plan their families. They already have all that.
They have all that. A lot of them get it for free.
Yep. Republicans, though, are on an abortion ban tear. Abortion is murder.
Well, first of all, at the numbers they're doing that, it's genocide.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now they're doing the same thing they always do. They argue the ends of the bell curve for the people in the middle of the bell curve.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, there are people out there who have, pregnancies that need to get terminated.
Yeah. And the abortion ban tear thing, again, you're talking about the far end of the bell curve.
Yes.
Very few conservatives are actually pushing for that.
No. And a lot of the states, they still allow abortion up to like 8 weeks.
To 6 or 8 weeks.
Now, if you don't know that you got a bun in the oven by the end of 6 weeks, you are fucking up by the numbers.
If you have to wait until 8 months and 28 days to figure out whether or not you're ready to be a parent, you should have just kept your legs shut. Give the kid away. Put it up for adoption. Yeah. You don't get to tear it apart into fucking pieces. Yeah. Feel pain.
Murder is in the air along with these women's legs.
Yeah. I love how this is the moral stance she's choosing to take.
Yeah.
A universal child care scheme would help single parents to work and would in turn raise their household incomes. Republicans oppose it. Why? Because that means a drastic increase in taxes.
Correct. Why do we have to pay for your kid to get watched at a daycare place because you can't keep your legs together? Shut the hell up. I'm sick of this bullshit.
Leftists are notorious for this stuff. Well, universal health care is a great idea. Well, that requires a 25% tax increase. Oh, I don't want that. Exactly.
If you really want to see
pitching
universal health care, go to Canada. Go get treated at the VA. That's a fucking nightmare.
Yep.
I go in there 3 or 4 times a year and have to deal with their insanity.
Yep. This stupid bitch's solution is literally just bigger government everything. A higher minimum wage would put more money in the pockets of families who need it. No, it wouldn't. You would drive up the costs of goods, drive up the costs of everything to where it doesn't even matter.
Here's another thing. With this minimum wage bullshit that they push in some of these states, there are fast food businesses that are automating or shutting down because they can't afford the labor costs.
And now California Stan wants to double down on stupid because $15 an hour wasn't enough anymore. Now they want a $20 an hour minimum wage.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Every single state that has a high minimum wage tanks its own economy.
Yeah.
100% of the time. There is no exception.
Well, the way the free market works is you have to allow the market to be free.
Yeah.
If you put constraints on it, it's going
Yeah.
to fail.
If you're regulating it, it's not a free market anymore now, is it? As unions currently fight for workers' rights and better treatment. Bullshit!
No, most of the unions out there were pushing the
Yeah.
vax mandate on the people in the unions.
Yeah, they want six-figure salaries for pushing buttons like monkeys. Kind of like me. The most prominent Democrats are standing in solidarity with them. Yeah, because you want to know how much fucking money unions give to the Democratic Party every year?
A lot of money.
It's really hilarious when they try to say that the gun lobby is the problem, but the union lobby outspends the gun lobby like 100 to 1.
Yeah, and listen, the police unions, the reason cops out there are so shitty is these police unions, protect the dirty, nasty cops.
Yep.
They need to stop doing that. It's going to blow up in our faces down the road.
You want to see how Joe Biden stands with workers?
Sure.
Well, he has to rush to talk to the UAW workers because Trump beat him to it. It's like, well, and of course, they're not talking about the fact that Trump reached out to them first. Well, Biden beat Trump there by a full 24 hours. Yeah, because Trump had already reached out to them and he's being witch hunted into a fucking oblivion, but he still reached out to them first. He completely scooped them. They're not focusing on that, though.
No.
And then, of course, there's East Palestine, which Biden still insists that he's too busy to visit, despite the fact that he's spent a full third of his presidency on vacation.
Correct. And that whole East Palestine thing, that is a horrible travesty that has been swept under the rug.
Yeah, they're not even talking about it anymore.
It is the equivalent of an NBC chemical fucking attack on our home soil.
You're damn right.
My heart breaks for those people.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
We're almost to the very end here. And the blame and shame is about to come fast and fierce.
Here we go.
Democrats have tried valiantly to increase the number of kids who are insured and can get health care, and Republicans have opposed them because what you're advocating for is not insuring kids with health care. You're advocating for a huge fucking tax on people who actually work to produce things and then giving it to people who are lazy.
And don't want to work. Or they're poor because they made bad decisions.
Exactly. Lecturing women to get married before they have babies and then shaming single moms isn't working. What does work to help families and kids? Giving women and men alike the ability to marry into mutually stable, supportive, and financially viable relationships while also supporting all children, regardless of who their parents are. Yeah, we used to do that back when we were a Christian nation, but people like you weren't happy with that. You saw marriage as oppression.
Yep.
You saw women not having to work while a man went out and busted his ass to the point of like killing himself, sometimes literally. You saw that as being a prisoner in your own home because you're stupid.
Hang on. All right. Now, if you go to Detroit in some of those older houses, you ever notice that there's a toilet in the basement by like the slop sink?
Yeah.
That exists because back in the day, men would come home from work. They were so grimy and dirty, they had to go into the basement to clean themselves off just to interact with their family later on.
Yep.
All right. Women, they want all the cushy jobs. They don't have to do any of that stuff. And you could tell by the way they're fucking thinking right here.
Yeah.
They have lost touch with reality.
Yeah. It's all men's fault and conservatives' fault. It can't be my political leanings and my own entitled bitchiness that are the problem.
Oh, no, we can't have entitled bitchiness taken.
Yeah. Women totally don't want to marry up. So the more educated and the more money they make, that's going to become more and more of a problem, especially because they literally have to displace men in order to do that. They're always telling us, you need to just step aside. Well, why can't you just earn it on your own?
Yeah. Why do you need me to help you? If we're equal, you just outperform me.
Exactly.
And then you win fair and square.
And then, of course, she ends it with this nugget of wisdom here. In America, we don't do that, not because of liberals and feminists, but because of self-styled pro-family conservatives and their home in the Republican Party.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, you're brainwashing that, like, the hundreds of thousands of dollars in brainwashing you paid for really did the job.
It's completely obvious.
This woman is so far up her own ass, I'm pretty sure she found the first dude who came in her in there.
Oh, my Lord.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporters Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.